For the first time in the AST Voltson Super Trucks, the series pays a visit to the state of Wisconsin, where the 8th race of 10 in the 2015 AST Voltson Super Trucks will take place here today at the Dells Raceway Park in Wisconsin Dells. The Third Mile Oval will host a 75-lap event, but for the first time since last year's season finale at the Berlin Raceway, we will have to have heat races in order to narrow down the starting field from the 22 entries to the 18 that will start the feature race. Darrell Quick is qualified on the pole position for the second time this season, and Hunter Blaze will be starting in second. The other 20 drivers will be put in one of the two 10-truck heat races, each of which will be 15 laps in length. The top 8 of them will transfer to the feature race, and none of them are locked into the show. We begin with the first heat race of the day, where Mike Ramos in the number 23 Lycoya leads the field to the green after ranking 3rd in time trial qualifying. On his outside is Danny Vigo in the number 80 truck, and Ramos gets a much better run on the inside of turns 1 and 2. The inside lane at this track is generally the preferred line, as Vigo, by the time the first lap comes to an end, has fallen back to 4th, but he forces his way between Terry Rivers Jr. and Brina Prinzhorn to put Prinzhorn back another few positions. Mary Brosseau moved into 2nd on the first lap and now goes for the lead on Ramos, taking it from him off of turn 2. Brosseau has not won a race in this series, but has come close on several occasions. And Ramos is going to lose another position now as Robbie Ruiz gets by in the 28 truck, trying to make his second career start. Another driver on his way forward is Michael McKinley in the 99M. He moves into 3rd past the 23, and Jeffrey Jackson follows him through, now looking for 3rd place himself. Terry Ruiz Jr. in the meantime has been put on the outside lane and is dropping through the field very quickly. He receives a little bit of a door check from Kim Conway and now finds himself in 9th. The only truck behind him is Danny Vigo, who has lost many positions since the start. The points leader finds himself outside the transfer zone and he's desperate to work his way back into it. He gets into Zach Churchill through turn 4, but does not deter the 84. He's not going to be able to pass Churchill, but as Jeffrey Jackson has fallen towards the back, he finally gets by him, and Conway's in the wall. That's Churchill spinning right in front of him. An accident off of turn 2 is going to bring out the caution. With 6 laps to go, Churchill gets hit by Jeffrey Jackson as he spins around. He ran up wide off the corner and stuck Kim Conway into the wall. On board Terry Ruiz Jr. He does a great job at making sure he doesn't hit the spinning 84, but as soon as he clears him, he jumps back on the throttle and gets around Jeffrey Jackson in turn 3 and 4. That is going to give him the 8th and final transfer position and knock Jackson out of the transfer zone. Mary Brosseau crosses the line under caution to score the victory, with Robbie Ruiz finishing in 2nd, Brianna Prinzhorn in 3rd, Michael McKinley 4th, Mike Ramos falls back to 5th, Danny Vigo gets back up to 6th, Kim Conway after going into the wall finishes in 7th, and once again Terry Ruiz Jr. finishes in the 8th and final transfer position. Jeffrey Jackson and Zach Churchill are both going to fail to qualify for the race, a big disappointment for both of them, with Churchill coming off of his 2nd place finish at Galesburg, and Jackson having only made his series debut at Galesburg. We now move on to the second heat race of the day, where John White leads the field to the start, with Wilson Timothy on his outside. White won the last heat race that he was in, which was last year's first heat race at the Berlin Raceway, but Alex Martinez moves to his inside as White drifts up turn 2, and on the first lap Martinez will take the lead in the race. Right behind White now is Allison Ashburn, who gets loose off of turn 4, but keeps the truck under control and is going to move past White into 2nd place. Kathy Gargalak now makes a run on Ashburn for the position. The only Wisconsin driver in the field has never raced at this track before, but Jenny Jackson makes a move to the inside of both of them. There's 3 wide for 2nd, and the 501 truck is going to take over the 2nd position. Jenny Jackson trying to assure that a homegrown racer's truck starts the main event after her older brother Jeffer failed to qualify in race 1. Amberly Weiss has worked her way up into 3rd from the 10th starting position, but the same cannot be said for her teammate Daniela Jacobson, who runs in 10th at the moment, at least until she gets around John White and Gordon Davis in turns 1 and 2, moving herself into the transfer zone. The 9th position now being battled amongst Davis and White. White, of course, fell all the way into last from the first starting position, and Wilson Timothy, who started on the front row as well, fell back with them, but they are both going to put the 57 back in the 9th place, and Timothy wants a run at White himself. They both get around Allison Ashburn and are now working on Kevin Thompson, but White drifts up into the 90 and goes down into the door of the 4 off the corner. Fortunately, they do not crash. Daniela Jacobson and Gordon Davis, neither of them are in position to make the race at the moment, and Davis is going to put Jacobson in the wall off of turn 2, and they both crash down the backstretch. Gordon Davis tried to make a move on the 57 for 9th, but as we're going to see from Jacobsen's onboard, she gives Davis all the room he needs on the inside, but 32 drifts way too high and puts her in the wall off the corner. That's not the first time this season that Davis has run other cars up into the wall, and it looks like it's going to cost him and Jacobsen a shot at the main event, as the caution will not come out. Allison Ashburn and Wilson Timothy get around Amberly Weiss for the 3rd and 4th positions. Weiss, continuing to fall through the field, gets into John White and spins him into the wall off the corner. She comes down across Kevin Thompson and spins herself out, and this accident will bring out the caution with just 3 laps to go. Alex Martinez, after leading every lap in this race, is going to score the victory. The Kalamazoo winner giving himself a 4th place starting position for the main race. Jenny Jackson holds on to finish in 2nd, Kathy Gargolak in 3rd. Wilson Timothy works his way back up to 4th, Allison Ashburn in 5th. Kevin Thompson is in 6th, and John White is in 7th after they both get caught up in the accident with 3 laps to go. Amberly Weiss caught up in that accident as well. She manages to finish in 8th, and all 3 of those drivers were too far ahead of Daniela Jacobsen and Gordon Davis. Jacobsen actually had to pit for repairs. After Davis causes them both to crash, they're both going to fail to qualify for the main race. A big disappointment, especially for the 57 truck, considering that that accident was not her fault at all. With the heat races complete and the starting order set, it is now time for the feature race. 75 laps here at the Dells Raceway Park. Darrell Quick and Hunter Blaze are going to lead the field down to the green flag, and Quick gets a great jump over Blaze on the start. Mary Brousseau, who starts 3rd by virtue of winning the first heat race, moves into 2nd in the first corner, and now chases down Quick. Robbie Ruiz started right behind Brousseau, but did not get nearly as good of a start as the 25. Brianna Princehorn moves to his inside and makes it 3 wide with Alex Martinez. She's going to move into 4th in the first lap. Michael McKinley trying to follow her through, but this is a disaster for Martinez, who is losing several positions on the outside of 3 wide, and the field beginning to shuffle a lot in the opening laps. Terry Ruiz Jr. could not get his truck started on the pace lap and would rejoin the race 4 laps down. A big shame for Ruiz after almost missing the show. Mary Brousseau now tries to get around Hunter Blaze and take back the 2nd position, but Michael McKinley is trying to get by the 25 at the same time. These 3 are racing for the 2nd position as Quick is beginning to pull away, but they are having a very clean battle. Brousseau and McKinley both dispatch the 71, and now McKinley goes to the inside of Brousseau. He is, of course, 2nd in points coming into this race, trying to chase down Danny Vigo in the point standings. Allison Ashburn and Wilson Timothy started in the midfield, but Ashburn gets into Hunter Blaze off of turn 1 and spins right in front of Vigo. Your points leader gets a piece of that, but the damage is very minimal to the 80 truck. Right behind this, Robbie Ruiz gets bumped by Kathy Gargolak as he slows up for the spin, and he's going to turn Amberly Weiss and Jenny Jackson. No harm, no foul, though. All trucks will be able to continue on without making any repairs. And Hunter Blaze got turned down to the inside and makes a fantastic save, keeping the truck off the inside wall and the outside wall. He's going to actually hold off Wilson Timothy and beat them back to the line. Darrell Quick leads on the restart with Terry Ruiz Jr. trying to get one of his 4 laps back, restarting on his inside. Michael McKinley is in 2nd, but Mary Brousseau is coming at him for that position again. And oh, there's a truck in the wall on the inside. That's Kim Conway in the 00. She flies back up the track in turn number 1 and nearly takes out several cars. They're racing back to the caution now. Brousseau, on the inside of Quick, is going to beat him back to the line and take over the lead of the race by just a few inches. And here's what happened to Conway. John White bounced off of Mary Brousseau off the turn and put Conway into the inside wall, and she came flying back up the track in turn 1 and spun right across the front of the 06. White's rather lucky that Conway's truck didn't broadside his, or anyone else's truck for that matter, as she spun up turn 1. On board White's truck right now, that was a very close call indeed. Conway's truck is heavily damaged, but will be able to continue on. And you may have noticed that Jenny Jackson tried to enter the pit lane after the restart, but she overshoots the pit entrance and runs into the end of the pit wall head-on, taking herself out of the race. A big disappointment for Jackson and the Homegrown Racers team, as she is done for the day. Mary Brousseau leads on the restart with Quick in 2nd. This is the first race in which Brousseau has led laps all season long, after finishing in the top 5 3 times in 5 starts last year. We honestly would have expected a bit more out of her, but it's good to see her finally doing so well. But Quick takes the lead back from her just 1 lap after the restart, White trying to move into 2nd as well after almost being wiped out of the race. Kevin Thompson's going to spin off of turn 2 as he gets bumped by Mike Ramos and Allison Ashburn, and then he gets knocked upside down as he gets hit by Amberly Weiss. Weiss did a very good job of slowing down for the 90, but she got run over by Robbie Ruiz, who did not get slowed down in time, and Thompson's going to lose a lap there. Here's another look at it. He drifts up into the 23, and at the same time gets hit by the 4, and again, Weiss was about to get the truck stopped when the 28 ran into her, and that bump forced the 90 into a roll. He is going to be able to continue on, though. The damage is rather minimal. On the restart, Danny Vigo moves to the inside of Alex Martinez and forces him up into the door of Michael McKinley. Vigo not afraid to ruffle some feathers on his way to the front. And in the midfield, there's 4 wide now off of turn number 2. Ashburn, Gargalock, Prinzhorn, and Ramos into turn number 3 now. Contact between the 7 and the 30, and there's no accident. That was an amazing piece of driving amongst all drivers involved. We need to take another look at that here. The 23, the 7, the 30, and the 4 all take different lines through turns 1 and 2, and by the time they get off the corner, they are dead even and 4 wide down the backstretch. I have never seen 4 trucks go side by side without ending in catastrophe. That was very impressive amongst all parties involved, and Ashburn's going to gain 3 positions in the process. There's more 4 wide towards the midfield, and this time it's not going to work as Danny Vigo gets turned into the wall. Kevin Thompson is spinning as well. Mary Brousseau and Alex Martinez got big pieces of that, but your championship leader has just been involved in a crash. Mary Brousseau drifted up into the 90 truck off of turn 2 and spins herself down to the inside. No one else is going to hit her, but the contact with Thompson is what turned him down into the 80 truck, and Thompson and Vigo went straight up into the wall. And Thompson actually hits the opening. Alex Martinez runs into the 80, and that actually wasn't quite as big of a hit as it looked like before. And as trucks try to drive through the wreck, Kathy Gargalot gets turned. Here she is. She runs into the side of the 06, who swerves to avoid the accident and gets herself spun across the front of Kim Conway. And they're not going to let her try and get the car turned around before she drives away. And Conway knocks Gargalot upside down. That's the second truck to get knocked onto its roof today. But after getting overturned, it will continue on. Hunter Blaze took over the lead from Daryl Quick just before the caution, but he now has a lot of lap trucks on his inside. Vigo and Gargalot both restarted 1 lap down, and Ruiz Jr. is still 3 laps down. They're all trying to get at least 1 lap back, and Daryl Quick hasn't been able to take advantage of this, but as soon as he catches up to Blaze, he's going to get by him all on his own with the move to the inside of turn 3 and regain the lead. You might have seen that smoke on the front stretch, that dirt rather, being kicked up by the 00 of Kim Conway as she overshoots the pit entrance. She will make it successfully the next time around. Brianna Prinzhorn is currently having her best run of the year, running in 3rd place at the moment. She's trying to get by Hunter Blaze now to move into 2nd, but she gets into the 71 truck off of turn 2 and spins down to the inside across the front of Allison Ashburn in the 4. The caution will not come out from this spin. Prinzhorn had done a good job at avoiding the other accidents so far today, but this is going to set her back. And just a couple of laps later, Michael McKinley runs up into Kevin Thompson off of turn 2, puts himself in the inside wall and comes back up the track into Robbie Ruiz, bringing out the race's 5th caution. This is the 3rd accident in a row in which Kevin Thompson's been involved, but all 3 drivers are going to continue. Hunter Blaze will lead the field down to the restart, and as soon as we get back under green, Brianna Prinzhorn is going to try and get back to where she was before she spun, passing several cars in the span of just a couple of laps. The tires have obviously not been hurt that badly on the 7 truck, as she is storming her way back towards the front. She's now caught up to 3rd place Wilson Timothy, but he makes contact with Terry Ruiz Jr., tries to keep the car under control, but comes back up in turn 3 that is, right in front of Prinzhorn and puts himself into the outside wall. That was a pretty significant hit, and Timothy is going to have his race ended on lap 48. And right behind this, Mary Brousseau gets spun after making contact with Alex Martinez and John White, and that brings out the 6th caution of the race. After the restart, as Blaze is once again your leader, Daryl Quick is going to make a move on him on the inside of turn 3 and take the lead back from the 71 truck. Blaze is looking for the first win of his career, and Quick is looking for his 2nd. But instead of making another run at Quick, Blaze is going to find himself stuck on the outside lane. Alex Martinez moves up into 2nd, and he's now getting passed by Brianna Prinzhorn and Mike Ramos. There is no hood on that 23 car, as you can very clearly see, but he is still on the lead lap, and now battling for the 3rd position. That is until John White gets around him and Prinzhorn, and now goes around Martinez to move into second. White's come very close to his elusive first victory, and he's now only one position away from the lead here at Dells Raceway Park. Another driver working his way forward is Michael McKinley, who has a lot of damage for the accident that he caused, but that does not appear to have slowed him down. Mary Brousseau also trying to get back towards the front, but Kim Conway merges onto the racetrack, and this is a huge pack of cars now, running very close together. They're 4 wide again, and they're all going to go into the wall off of turn number 2. Hunter Blaze, Michael McKinley, Mary Brousseau, Terry Ruiz Jr. We're all running very close together in a unusually tight pack of cars. They end up 4 wide by the time they get off of turn 2, and Ruiz Jr. doesn't leave them enough room on the outside. I'm not sure if he even realized that they'd gone 4 wide. Kathy Gargolak gets spun as well, but once again, all drivers are able to continue. The race is going to restart with just 10 laps to go, and now the lap trucks are going to restart in a single file line with the leaders. Daryl Quick leads John White and Alex Martinez back to the green, but White's going to make a move for the top spot. He goes to the inside of the 82, and through turns 1 and 2 is going to finally take the lead of the race. It took him the entire event to do so, but he now finds himself out front, but Quick's not going to let him get away. He bumps into the 06 off of turn number 4. That didn't seem to upset his truck, but he ends up running wide in turn 2 on his own, and Quick's going to take the lead of the race right back from the 06. Running right behind them in 4th and 5th is Mike Ramos and Allison Ashburn. The lap truck of Terry Ruiz Jr. is still 2 laps down and interfering with their battle, although he's not going to do much harm as he gets on by. Ashburn bounces off the wall on turn 4 and gets turned by Mike Ramos in the 23, and she gets clobbered in the passenger door by Brianna Prinzhorn as she spins back up turn 1. The truck almost flips onto its roof, but is actually going to manage to drive away. Here we are on board Brianna Prinzhorn as Ashburn hits the wall off the corner, gets spun to the inside, and comes straight back up the track and right into Prinzhorn's path. There was nothing that she could have done about that, and that was a very scary accident, but both drivers are going to be okay. Another look at it from the top of the grandstands. The 7 truck had nowhere to go when she committed to the outside lane, and Hunter Blaze did a great job of slowing down and not hitting either of them. The race is now going to restart on lap number 74. Unless we see another yellow flag, this will be our first green-white checkered finish of the season. Daryl Quick leads John White back to the line. The green flag flies for the final time today, and Quick got a good start over White. He's taking a wider line through turns 1 and 2, but White's facing a challenge from Alex Martinez. The 48's moved to his inside and is trying to move up into second place and give himself enough time to chase down Daryl Quick. Martinez clears White in turn 4 and now has just 1 more lap to catch up to the 82, but he runs wide in turn 1 and White comes back at him on the inside. Terry Ruiz Jr. is making it 3 wide with them, and now they're racing through the final corner for second place. They make contact and go into the outside wall. Mike Ramos gets by Martinez just in time to take the 3rd position, and White barely manages to hang on to second place. But in front of all of them, Quick would go unopposed for the remaining 2 laps of the event. The 82 truck won the series opening race last year at the Michigan International Speedway and went on to win the championship, but he has not scored another race victory since his first. Until today here at Dells Raceway Park, Daryl Quick finally wins the 2nd race of his AST Voltson Super Trucks career in the series' first visit to Wisconsin. I believe that Quick is the only driver who did not get caught up in any sort of incident throughout the race, and he has by far the cleanest truck of all the finishers. John White again managed to just barely beat Mike Ramos for 2nd place after White and Martinez pushed each other up into the wall off of turn 4. Ramos ties his best career finish. That's his 3rd top 5 and 2nd 3rd place finish of the season. Alex Martinez manages to hold on to 4th. Robbie Ruiz scores a top 5 in just his 2nd career start, with a relatively clean truck of his own despite being caught up in a couple of accidents. Hunter Blaze, after leading several laps, fell back to 6th, but still scores a good result. And Mary Brousseau in 7th is the last truck on the lead lap. Kathy Gargolak, Terry Ruiz Jr., and Michael McKinley are 2 laps down each, as well as Kevin Thompson, who finished in 11th. Those are the only 11 drivers who managed to finish the race.